Around 250 million years ago, when the Earth had just begun to stabilize again, massive volcanic eruptions were throwing lava and toxic gases high into the sky. The scene looked like a world where herbivorous animals roaming the land were struggling for every breath, while in the oceans, the dominant Claudiosaur-type creatures had to think 1,000 times before swallowing even a single drop of water. Both terrestrial and aquatic creatures realized that their end was near, and ultimately the fear came true. In a mass extinction event called the Great Dying, nearly 90% of Earth's species went extinct. But nature always follows one rule. Where one species disappears, another emerges. And during this extinction, entirely new forms of life found the opportunity to rise. I am talking about the very early ancestors of a completely new type of life, the dinosaurs. According to some estimates, after the Great Dying, it took nearly 10 million years for Earth to recover, longer than the time humans took to evolve from apes. This long recovery happened because the greenhouse gases released during the extinction event caused global temperatures to rise to the hottest levels since life first emerged on Earth. Because of this, ferns that depended on moist environments went extinct, and the climate rapidly became hot and dry. To survive such a climate, tall plants and trees evolved needle-shaped leaves, conifers, to reduce water loss. As these plants evolved, Earth gradually became habitable again. In this renewed environment, the first creatures to move across the land were the small, herbivorous, mouse-like ancestors of mammals, synapsids, and the carnivorous ancestors of dinosaurs, diapsids, particularly archosaurs. In the rivers and wetlands of Pangaea, the ancestors of frogs, amphibians, began to flourish, mostly in freshwater. Saltwater bodies were still dominated by temnospondyls, which looked and behaved somewhat like crocodiles. Anything they saw, they simply ate. For synapsids and diapsids, the only safe option was to remain on land and dominate each other there. Even though diapsids were carnivores and synapsids their prey, synapsids initially dominated because they were larger. But their rule did not last long. Earth's climate kept changing, and synapsids could not adapt fast enough. Gradually, they went extinct. Archosaurs, however, adapted. They evolved a new thermoregulation strategy. Their skin began to help absorb and release heat depending on the surroundings. Over generations, their respiratory, digestive, and locomotion systems improved rapidly. But once they adapted, a new problem appeared. Their marine cousins, ichthyosaurs, had already grown larger and had begun eating them, even snatching food out of the mouths of temnospondyls. As a result, temnospondyle populations rapidly declined, and ichthyosaurs became the new dominant marine predators. Even today, something similar happens. Those with knowledge dominate. Likewise, in gaming, if you have knowledge, you can dominate too. And for that, you can make predictions on the world's #1 gaming app, Parimatch, especially during the Tamil Nadu Premier League celebration. They are unveiling a personalized prize box. Promotional segment translated: a smartwatch with a large AMOLED display, a customized team t-shirt, AI-generated posters, and more. You can win this personalized box by registering at Parimatch using the link in the description and supporting your favorite team. It offers excellent odds, fast withdrawals, and a 10,000 welcome bonus. Returning to the topic, in this era of dinosaur dominance, going into the water to hunt meant risking being eaten by ichthyosaurs. Terrestrial species had it no better. After 70% of species went extinct, the food chain had more predators and fewer prey. So archosaurs needed speed to capture whatever prey remained before others did. To run faster, their leg bones, tibia, fibula, astragalus, began to fuse, giving extra strength. Their necks became flexible and S-shaped, allowing them to see prey without moving their bodies and maintain balance with better control of their center of gravity. As conditions stabilized and archosaurs hunted more efficiently, prey again became scarce. Some archosaurs began eating plants and insects too, gradually turning omnivorous. They became so different from their ancestors that scientists later had to classify them into two groups: dinosaur ancestors and crocodile ancestors, crocodilomorphs. During this evolution, Earth continued to calm down. Volcanic activity decreased, CO2 levels fell, and Pangaea slowly broke into the shapes of modern continents. Coniferous forests spread, marine life increased in quantity and diversity, and seasonal rain stabilized, lasting 9 months every year. Vegetation flourished and life expanded. With abundant nutritious vegetation, some early ornithischians became completely herbivorous. Their teeth flattened for grinding leaves and ferns. Their stomachs and intestines grew larger to process plant matter, and their pubic bones rearranged into a bird-like configuration. Meanwhile, lizard-hipped omnivorous saurischians depended on both sources, plants and prey, so their bones evolved for faster mobility. Both groups became fully developed dinosaurs. Their structures and genetics changed so much that scientists again divided them into two orders: ornithischians, bird-hipped herbivorous dinosaurs; saurischians, lizard-hipped dinosaurs, including both omnivores and carnivores. By the late Triassic, ornithischians increased rapidly because plants were abundant, whereas prey animals for saurischians were not. This created natural selection pressure, forcing many saurischians to become purely herbivorous. By around 200 million years ago, most saurischians surviving were herbivores. Meanwhile, theropods, like the ancestors of T-Rex, were still carnivorous, preying on saurischians and ornithischians. But evolution was not done. Around 230 million years ago, some dinosaurs sought a new advantage, increasing their chances of catching prey from above. This led to the evolution of the first flying vertebrates, pterosaurs. Initially small, human-sized creatures, they later grew so large that their wingspans equal the length of 1.5 full-size school buses. This continuous evolution made survival difficult for the remaining synapsids. Eating plants meant facing two-legged dinosaurs. Climbing trees exposed them to large herbivorous sauropodomorphs that ate everything in reach. And even sitting on treetops risked being snatched by pterosaurs. To survive, some synapsid species adopted a unique solution. Instead of growing larger like dinosaurs, they shrank. Smaller bodies meant hiding easily and avoiding predators. Thus, around 225 million years ago, some synapsids evolved into small, nocturnal, insect-eating mammaliforms. Their survival problem was solved. Everything was going well. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth completely. But then something happened that triggered another mass extinction. Near the end of the Triassic period, Earth entered another extinction event. The slow breakup of Pangaea suddenly accelerated. The Central Atlantic Magmatic Province, CAMP, a fragile junction of several tectonic plates, reached a breaking point. Enormous volcanic eruptions began, releasing toxic gases that poisoned the atmosphere. Rainfall mixed with these gases, turning rivers and oceans acidic. There was no clean air to breathe, and no fresh water to drink. As conditions worsened, most dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and small mammaliforms perished once again.